I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg,
I'm out of jury duty.
and I never was asked.
And we're still the CRM players either way. If I was on jury duty or if I wasn't, we'd still be here. We wouldn't be here for you
No,
today.
that's right. If you were on jury duty, we wouldn't be here. Neither would I either, to be honest.
But thank the good Lord that I'm here, which means I'm not there.
You're free and clear.
But you know what it also means?
No.
We've been bringing whatever that is since 2009.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, you could say that. Or we could get Austin to say that again. I really don't know.
Bringing it is.
But we're glad to be here. It's a third. You know what? It's like 90 degrees here in Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah, we broke a record yesterday. We had it's a record that goes all the way back to last year, apparently. But it was we broke the record of 92 degrees on September the 24th because it reached 93 degrees. So
that's amazing. We're at like low 80s, maybe like 81, 82, 83, like that.
Man, I'd kill to be that.
I actually would rather go 70.
I like 70 rather than 93. I mean,
yeah, 70's today I think it's 80. Hold on. Alexa, what's the weather right now?
It's currently 80 degrees in Fahrenheit.
80 on the nose.
That's perfect.
It will be 81 degrees with
yeah.
a low of 60.
To me, it's 10 degrees too cool. I mean, too hot. But I could stand this.
Yeah, as soon as we start our show, I get a phone call. Come on, people, you got to know better than that. Anyway, something feels amiss.
Or a mister, or a missus, or a ms.
Or just missing, which is our moment is Finn. We don't have that.
Well, honestly, I mean, he's catching me lately. I've been getting him like half right, meaning what I'm going to have to do is go with my first instinct, which has been right, and then I change it, then I'm wrong.
So you're going with your second instinct.
That's what I am. Yeah, and that's been wrong almost every single time. But my first instinct's been right about 2/3 of what was wrong, if you know what I mean. 2/3 that I would have gotten right if I had just gone with what I thought it was originally.
Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm sorry. Let me just apologize for that now. So we can move on.
What language was that in?
Pig Latin, let's say.
Yeah, unintelligible.
All right, let's move on. We really weren't. Just as I was about to move on, look what happened. Look who showed up.
Oh, gosh almighty.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
Other than Tony Zambito, which is the guy.
Yeah, actually, I think I might have seen this quote, even though I don't know, I'm not really clear on the language here. I'm assuming it's like Finnish, something related to Finnish. I feel like I'm close, but not exactly there. But I'll just say Finnish now, even though it's Estonian or Finnish.
All right. So which one you going to? Estonian or Finnish? Or Estona Finnish? I don't know.
Yeah, Stony Finnish. I'm going with a Finnish stone. I'll stick with Finnish, even though I'm probably regret it.
Yeah, that's okay. I regret many of things.
Estonian is probably what it is, but I'll stick with Finnish anyway.
All right, he's sticking with Finnish, Finn. So let us know if he's right and what the hell that says, because I'm kind of curious. In the meantime, I got one of those Facebook memory things, okay. And I want to show you this. I want to see if you know where this is coming from.
Oh,
you know who those two gentlemen are, right?
Well, I can't really see. Wow, it must be old.
It's old. I'm not going to tell you how old because I'm going to get you to try to guess. By the way,
look at
you're right.
I went with my first gut. See, I went with the first. That was my first instinct, and then I said, "Remember what I said? Finnish, but maybe it's Estonian." But I'll stick with my first instinct.
All right, so you're back on.
Yeah,
track.
I'm back on track. Just go with the first instinct I have.
All right.
All right, let's see.
Now, getting back to this,
Okay, I'm trying to.
there's a little hint, at least for one of the
Yeah, I
gentlemen.
see it. Forget the Super Bowl. I'm looking at the hint. I mean, I know this. But I don't know when.
No, but who are the two guys first? Let's do that.
Well, that looks like Satya from the side. Anyway,
There's another hint if you real close on the count, like on the counter there. You see, like
no, it's not. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not very clear to me. It's like it doesn't look as clear to me as it probably does to you in the screen. Hold on, let me see if I can.
No, we got to move things along. All right.
I
So
can't.
it says Microsoft.
Yeah, well, no, I said that Satya is on the left there. But
Oh, okay. All right. And
I
the
got that part.
who's the guy on the right?
Well, it's what's I know who it is, and I'm blocking it completely. It's a really superstar.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead. That is Deion Sanders.
That was I don't know what was running in my head, but it wasn't that. Well, you know what the problem was? It doesn't even really look like him, but the name.
This is when he was bald before he discovered Hair Club for Men.
Right, I guess that is right.
That's exactly what.
What's the name of that thing? The one that restores hair.
The transplant, or
they actually it's that medicine.
Yeah, this is where they take hair from other parts of your body and like slather it on the top of your head.
That's right.
Like that. Anyway, that is Satya Nadella and Deion Sanders, prime time.
But what's the forget the Super Bowl or?
That's that was the early days of transcriptions, I'm guessing. So
yeah, or war.
So, you know where this came from?
No, I don't have a clue.
This comes from Microsoft Ignite in 2016.
The world's worst conference ever. That's one. No wonder I forgot. That is literally the worst conference in the history of conferences. Was that one? And even Microsoft even knew it.
We were both there 9 years ago today. We were chilling with Sadia in prime time.
And if you remember, we were chilling with Esteban, and we were chilling with Carolina and Ann.
Oh yeah, lots
that
of people.
was the one where you remember who went off on Ann and Josh Greenbaum was eating with Ann and Carolina, and Claire Henry went off on them.
Yeah, I was included in that. But the thing I remember most about this,
that's what I remember.
It was they had the reception the night before, and they had this DJ thing where it was like a virtual DJ screen.
Oh, that thing, yeah, in that room. I remember that totally. That was they brought it was kind of like the Seattle radio station that was also it was a band that was super popular at that time, that the band actually would play live at that station.
Right. But anyway, the DJ guy had this virtual DJ screen thing, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Can I play with it?
I remember you played the whole night with it.
Yeah, it was me and Dr. Nat was hanging around, and
I totally remember that. I totally remember that. Actually, the room, the board, the guy, the story, and it'll come to me who the group was too. They actually were a big name group in that time.
The person I remember that they talked about is it was the song Thrift Shop. What was that? Macklemore. They were
That's
talking
what
about
it was. It was Macklemore.
Yeah,
it was Macklemore, and they would sing it live at the studio. They weren't just playing it.
Yeah, Thrift Shop.
Right. That was the thing that made it so amazing.
9 years ago.
Wow.
That is kind of.
I mean, the conference was horrible, but that was very cool.
Didn't they stop doing that?
Yeah, because they completely had the wrong audience. That was when they took Converge and split it, and that was the year they split it. And Ignite was meant to be. They had all the business side people. They for some reason got them to come to Ignite, which was much more for developers. And it was so off. It was astounding.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it was people that were there for Microsoft that now have gone on other places since. But Bill, what's his name? Wasn't he still
Patterson.
Bill Patterson? David. What's that guy's name?
David.
Yeah, he's from Cincinnati. He was a huge Bengals fan, and
Oh,
David, because now I believe he's at Salesforce. I don't know if he was there for years. I don't know if he's still there or not.
Great guy
David,
too.
yeah, there's a. And then wasn't
How could I forget
was
that?
Bob still at
20, yeah.
Microsoft at that point? I mean,
Yes,
there's
he
a
was.
lot. Oh, wasn't Dina?
Yeah,
He
Dina.
had to have
Well,
been
no,
there.
we didn't know. I mean, Dina was there. We
Yeah,
didn't
but we
know her
just didn't
yet,
know her,
though.
but she was there.
No, we didn't
Well,
know her yet, but
like
she was definitely there.
so anyway, that is from 9 years ago. Deion Sanders and Satya Nadella chilling at.
Damn it, man, that's amazing.
Pretty. You know what else is amazing? Sometimes I just lose track of all the stuff that going on. So on X, I didn't see this still recently because I don't pay attention to X much for the
No,
most
me
part.
either.
But our buddy, the Right Reverend John Ferrara, founder of not only Goldmine but Nimble, which Nimble is still out there. He posted this in the summer. He talked to us last year about the 35-year journey from Goldmine to Nimble. That just made me think, man, we are really old because all these things that are being brought up either through Facebook memories or other people.
Hey,
Brent, yeah,
can you
yeah.
keep talking and take me offline for a second? I heard something loud.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back.
All right, I'll take you right back. Let me know when you're ready to come back. Anyway, so I'm just looking at all this stuff that people are posting. Man, 35 years. So we're talking like, and that was last year, so now it's 36 years. So we're talking a good 36 years in the CRM space, going all the way back to 1989. There's a lot of stuff has been going on, and it just feels like the last 6 months has been more things going on in the last 35 years, which I don't think is true, but it just feels like that. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of tap dancing because Paul Greenberg is trying to figure out. I see him getting ready to sit back down in his chair. And let's see. Looks like he's ready to go.
Problem solved.
Was that? I thought I heard like a dog barking or something, but
no, it wasn't that. It was Yvonne let out a really, really loud yell.
Oh.
So, but it turned out it's okay. Everything's fine.
But by the way, check out what I'm about to do here. So this thing is talking about the 35-year journey from Goldmine to Nimble. And then if I go back to what we were looking at before, that was a 9-year-old picture. If you add up 35 and 9, you get to 44. The number of 44, which so happens, I'm so glad you brought up Yvonne, which so happened to be the 44th anniversary today of Paul Greenberg getting the luckiest he's ever been in his life.
Yes.
And marrying Yvonne Greenberg 44 years ago. See how I put these together? It's a 35.
What a move. Kind of brilliant. But then again, you are brilliant. So.
That's a long way to go to just say happy 44th anniversary to the Greenbergs.
Thank you. And let's see, we lived together for 3 years before that. So it's 47 in the same domicile. And then we knew each other for 3 years before that. So we've known each other for 50 years. And
wow,
weirdly, my brother, who is younger than me by 2.5 years, celebrated his 50th anniversary about what is it, August? So whatever, no, September. No, August, rather. This is September. August, last month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to all the Greenbergs for all the anniversaries.
All the various anniversaries out there. Well, thank you, sir. What a move that was.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming.
Neither did I until I added those numbers up. But wow, that's really cool. So you guys will be having your special dinner later.
Yeah, going to Trummers as always.
Very nice. Well, anybody
we started going to Trummers. The very first time we went was on our 30th anniversary. So it's 14 years. Trummers at the time was a year and a half old.
So this will be your 13th anniversary with Trummers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've been going there for 14, close to 14 years.
Wow, there's all sorts of stuff going on here, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, happy anniversary. Hope you guys have a
Thank
great
you, sir.
dinner tonight.
Thank you.
All right. So we do have a really interesting guest. Matter of fact, we weren't even supposed to do a show because I was supposed to be in jury duty. And thankfully, I got released.
And then you came up with a brilliant idea besides.
So yeah, and we're gonna talk about our guest because it is, first of all, it's a person we just like, and the topic actually is pretty interesting. So before we get to all that, I had a couple of things I wanted to run by you, and we do. I also have to finish the housekeeping. Yeah, make sure I got it right. Okay, so very quickly, I'm gonna bring this back in here. It's coming up very soon, a week from this upcoming Monday. I'll be, because the venerable Paul Greenberg has retired from doing such things, but I'm still out there going to Vegas. So Sweet World, Sweet World will be coming up October 6th to the 9th. And I'll be doing a few good minutes stuff out there for that. I'm looking forward to it. And I believe the week right after that, the venerable Paul Greenberg will be coming to this, though. It is Oracle. I think this is the first time it's been called AI World for Oracle.
If you think about it, Cloud World didn't last too long as a name.
Didn't last long, like what, 4 years maybe?
Maybe 4 years. The venerable name was Open World, of course.
Yes, the venerable, Open World. Then it became Cloud World, and now it's AI World. And we will be doing some CRM Playaz EPs with some of our favorite folks out there.
We're working on it. We're working on a few things. We'd like, this week. You probably saw. Well, I know you saw because we talked about it already.
Oh, wait a minute! Before you bring it up,
you brought it to my attention.
Before we bring it up, I have a setup for that.
Okay.
So, and until we don't have exact schedules or who we're going to talk to, but as soon as we find out, we'll let you know.
Well, there's one guy we're hoping to talk to on the CX side who will, if we do, it will be very interesting and exciting.
It'll be very CXy.
Yeah. Not. Well, that's sort of like bringing the as, I guess, somewhere in that realm in terms of the use of the word.
Yeah, I don't feel as worried about.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
CXE will get past the FCC.
Yeah, the other one might not.
50-50.
So that's once again, that'll be Vegas. I think it's going to be at the Venetian, as it usually is. October 13th to 16th. As soon as we know what we're doing, we will let y'all know what we're doing. Unless y'all know what we're doing before we do, then you can let us know.
You can let us know. Or we'll never know what we're doing.
Even when we know
what we're doing.
Yeah, that's usually the case anyway.
Right.
And I think there's one more thing. Oh yeah, in the week after. Wow, it's like back to back stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's like what is it? It was Tinker's the Ever's the Chance or something like that.
That's right.
All right. So right after AI World, we will be going from Vegas to that scenic location, Half Moon Bay out in Cali, right off the edge of the Pacific. I mean, literally. But it'll be the 15th annual Constellation Connected Enterprise Conference, which would be really
can't
cool.
wait. Actually, I love that conference. I have to say, I do. For me, it's as much socializing with the people who are there as it is even the content, which is always very cutting edge, is basically the best way. And this, because it's the 15th annual celebration or annual conference, there'll be a bit of a little more celebratory. I know that Ray has some intentions of bringing people on stage who have gone a lot. I think I might be on there too. I'm not sure yet. That talk about your thinking over the 15 years and things like that, which is going to be fun. It'll be fun. He's also, the other thing he's doing, which is interesting, and it happens to be local to me, so particularly interesting, is he's doing sort of a AI Constellation AI thing here in DC next Monday and Tuesday. So he invited me to the dinner that night and the conference if I want to go, but it's in the city. So I'll go to the dinner, which is in Tyson's Corner on Monday night. And it's because a lot of people there, including Esteban and others who will be there. And, but a lot of people I know from CCE will be there too. But Ray is doing a very AI intense thing. He's got a really sterling kind of lineup of people for it too. So he's doing a lot of these things. He did an analyst relations event, like what do they call it? Not an offsite, but that kind of, what do they call it? Retreat, the kind of thing, with AR people. He's doing a number of these highly specialized events, but the premier event is this one.
Nice. All right. And so, yeah, we will be there October. Well, the event is October 20th to the 23rd, but we are going to do some broadcasting. We're not exactly sure how it's going to come together, but we will be there. And it looks like AI.
I have to assume that's Esteban.
We should assume, but just let us know who you are, LinkedIn user, because we don't know who that is. Anyway, so with all that out of the way, I got some quick hits and missings. Oh, it must be Esteban. It's going to be awesome and pragmatic.
Well, all I know is I'll be eating dinner with these guys for sure. I may be at the event. We'll see, but I doubt it. I have other obligations already.
All right, let's do some quick fire before we.
All right.
Things that have taken place in the last couple of days. It seems like a hell of a lot, but we're just going to limit it to a few here because we do know the folks at Pros, and you know them especially well. So it was announced, and you're the one who told me about this, that Thoma Bravo. I always want to say Thomas Bravo.
That's me too. Exactly the same. Thomas Bravo.
Thoma Bravo,
former major league player Thomas Bravo.
Yeah, buying Pros for 1.4 billion, or
Andres is retiring well, as it turns out.
So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I at first when I saw it, I thought, okay. I mean, I know, but it occurred to me, given that Thoma Bravo also acquired Verint, and again, this is on very limited knowledge of,
and it's only been like a month.
Yeah, and that's what triggered this thought. The fact that it's been a very short time period that the Thoma Bravo seems to want to buy their way into our universe, in a manner of speaking. For whatever reason, they're seeing the world of the customer-facing world, which Pros is on the corners of it, but it isn't necessarily dead center, but it's on the corners of it and certainly impacts it quite a bit. But Thoma Bravo seems to be wanting to get into the enterprise side of what we're doing, the kind of stuff we do, or the world we're in, I should say. So, and that's all I could think of. Other than that, it's relatively, maybe they're buying them because they're both viable companies, or they're sort of random, but I just can't shake the feeling, at least, that there's a connection there.
Yeah, I think there's a connection.
That acquisition.
I think there's a connection. I think because Pros, it was an AI company before people talked about being an AI company. They have the horsepower, the analytics, the capability.
Well, the best AI platform I've seen one of the best, I should say. I don't know if it's the best anymore, but one of the best AI platforms I've ever seen.
Yeah,
actually.
So you marry that with what Verint has, which is a contact center CX kind of platform, which a lot of data comes, a lot of really important interactions with customers are coming out of that platform. And so when you got that kind of data and now you have that kind of horsepower from an AI perspective, that's a pretty good connection that you can put together. And hopefully if you put it together, it should generate a lot of really good information, a lot of opportunity for the algorithms to feed off of really good, important interaction data. And you can see that being a really interesting piece of whatever puzzle they're putting together. Remember before this, last year, we were speaking at the user testing conference.
Yeah.
And it was announced not too far before that conference that Thoma Bravo was buying that. So it seems like wherever we go, like Toma Bravo is like, following us to see what they can.
Maybe that's it. They just said, where are Brett and Paul now? So you know what that means? In November, they're going to buy Oracle.
Yeah, we'll see if that one happens. Yeah, I'd like to see that one happen.
Yeah, given that Oracle seems to be buying the rest of the world at the moment.
By the way, so the perfect kind of segue.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Let's see. What do we got next? So they have an opportunity to do something really interesting if they do it right. I'll just leave that out because I don't know what else could be said about that right now. All right, moving on. Speaking of Oracle, interesting. Well, this is not something that is brand new in terms of what they're doing, but Oracle announced this week that they have basically promoted Clay McGurk, who was like the CEO of like OCI, I think that's what they call it, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and Mike Cecilia, who was the president of Industries.
Yep. They
have promoted both of those gentlemen to be co-CEOs of Oracle proper, and have moved Safra Katz up to be executive vice chair, and Larry maintains and continues to be the executive chair and this chief technology officer. Now, what's interesting about this is this is not the first time they've gone the co-CEO route. Years ago, I can't remember exactly, probably around that 10, 12 years ago, I think, they also did co-CEOs, but back then it was Mark Hurd and Safra Katz. They became co-CEOs. And it wasn't just an Oracle thing, because if you remember, SAP.
Oh, yeah. Well, SAP is the poster child for failure of co-CEOs.
Okay. I was just going to say.
Don't bring it up. I mean, I'm always wary of co-CEO plans, even though I don't know Clay, but I've seen him, and I've probably shook his hand or something. But you were mentioning you kind of liked him, and I do know Mike though pretty well, and I love the guy. I mean, as a human being, I really love him. Is he qualified? I imagine he is. Mike was very great at running Industries. I can say that, and I've done a number of shows with him.
I don't know Clay directly, but I've sat in on some of his presentations, and he reminds me a little bit of Mark Hurd, because Mark Hurd really knew how to interact with the crowd.
Yes, he did,
and he had a sense of humor, but he knew the people, like he knew the analysts and the reporters that were asking him questions. And he was very blunt, but he had fun with these interactions. And the few times I've sat and been in the audience when Clay was doing something, presenting, he has that kind of sense of humor too. And of course, I haven't met somebody at Oracle, particularly in those executive positions, that weren't incredibly intelligent and smart, knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
So, and I think, Mark, unfortunately, he passed away.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. But I don't know. It seems like Oracle has done something that we usually only reserve for like Zoho. They have people that have been there for years, years and years. And the core executive kind of folks, they seem to actually enjoy working with each other. It doesn't seem like it's a Hunger Games thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little of that in the earlier days, obviously, but a lot of the let's call it the toxic people are gone. They're just gone. They've been gone from there for quite a while, and the people who we know since, and again, Mike's a great example. I really like the guy, and honest to God, when I saw that was one of the two co-CEOs, I was very happy.
He seems like a nice guy too, a good guy too.
Yeah, well, he's super capable. I mean, they have these to your point, they have these veterans who have spanned a lot of Oracle parts, over the years, like Chris Leone, people like that. I mean,
Steve Miranda, who we would love to have on the show.
Yeah. By the way, Steve, if you're listening in today, and if you're not, we're going to send you this clip. Right. you keep talking about us, and you actually have talked about us a couple of times, 3-4 times, and you like us apparently, and you even know, what Mystery Science Theater 3000 is, so you understand our watch parties, right? And we want you on the show, and we really, really look. I would put it this way, and no offense taken to the other person I'm about to mention. If we have a choice of you or Larry Ellison on this show, I'm taking you. Okay, that's literally how much we want you on this show.
Yeah, let me just say this
to Larry.
No, none at all.
You.
It just feels weird, Steve. I feel like the three of us have a rather unique kind of relationship. Every year for it feels like the past 20 years, we meet for 20 minutes in the Oracle executive gaggle at one of the Oracle events, whether it was Open World, Cloud World, or now AI World. We've met through decades, through thick and thin. But outside of those 20 minutes, I think I can speak pretty confidently for the venerable Paul Greenberg. We don't know much about you outside of those 20 minutes every year.
No, we don't. And here's the thing. One, well, we do know a couple of things. One is you're very, very good at Oracle Fusion apps, and what your job. And you've been doing 27 years, I think, or 28 probably by now. And two, you're an extremely nice person, right? Yeah. So but beyond that, I don't even know what sports teams you root for. How about that? And that's
kind of a critical thing for us to know. I mean,
believe me, it's the first thing we find out.
So all we're saying, Steve, is we enjoy the 20-minute gaggle. We do get a lot of information in it. But after 20 years or so, we would like to go outside those boundaries just a little bit. Maybe have a 5-minute conversation, let alone what we typically do.
Let's go for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You give all of us, a million of us, 20 minutes every year. You can give me and Brent 20 minutes once.
So we don't know.
That's what we're asking.
You're probably very booked up, so we might not be able to do this face to face, but we would still love to have you join us on the show, whether it's virtual or if we come to you.
Just whatever it takes, we'll be there. We'll do it. I'll put it that way. Because obviously, if it's virtual, we're not
outside of rooting for
Yeah, well, we're not rooting for anything up in the Northeast, right? But we are rooting for the Mid-Atlantic or the West.
Okay, so with all that said, open invitation whenever you can do it. Whew. You know what? That took up so much time that we're gonna have to bypass your favorite segment.
Oh no, that's so terrible. I'm so sad.
But you know what? I think this might actually be your favorite part of the show, which is when I turn things over to the venerable Paul Greenberg to introduce today's guest.
Okay. So this is a gentleman I have known a very long time. I've known him at multiple companies over many, many years. And I'm only going to say his first name now. I'll give you the full name in a minute. Nitin is one of the most intelligent, humble people I know. He's a genuinely brilliant thought leader. At the same time, if you asked him, are you a thought leader? He would say he has no idea what you're talking about. He's always somebody who does not promote himself. He's not like all these clowns on LinkedIn who are pushing themselves who would literally put in their LinkedIn bios, thought leader, CX, magnificent, brilliant genius. Yeah.
Let me just, since I have the capability to see his expressions in the virtual green room, when you said all that, he did roll his eyes about that thought leader kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he understands.
Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. Plus, he's a blueberry bagel aficionado. Now I'll turn things back.
He is the one who created the entire controversy because of his brilliant answer on a prior show. So, but one thing that Nitin is a genuine thought leader and a wonderful person, and he's a CX thought leader. If you look at the way Nitin presents things, he presents things from the standpoint of the reality of the world as it is, the visionary thinking that it needs, and the practical way to get to the vision along the path. And he's always done it that way. And he's also, by the way, a very, very good writer. He's currently a board member of what's called Customer Commons, which we'll be talking to him about. And he's got a Substack, what do you call them? Substack,
Newsletter.
Oh, yeah, not blogs, right?
No.
Substack newsletter. I was just thinking about that. A Substack newsletter called Future Intense. And the nice thing is we haven't had him on for a while. So let's bring on our buddy, Nitin Badjatia.
Oh, wait a minute. There he is.
Oh, we go.
There we are.
Hey.
The man.
Hey.
Ooh.
First and foremost, I'm going to hold off on a comment for Brent, but Paul always nails my last name, which to me represents great experience. So that's awesome. I thought we were going to go into a bagel truce here, but I guess we're not.
We'll get there.
The bagel issue is, I don't know. Perhaps agentic AI will solve for this eventually someday.
Oh, I never thought about that one.
You know,
actually.
yeah.
Well,
Let me just ask you this, Nitin.
Yeah.
Does the word abomination still fit the description? Is that where we're going?
it's a blueberry bagel, remember.
Yeah. How could I forget? Remember the other thing I equated it to was that it was the equivalent of a California pizza.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Right. I don't even know what that is. Living out here now for
well,
16 years.
It's got pineapple on it.
No,
That's all I can remember.
no,
Something like that.
that's an abomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From the land of free range tofu, I guess.
All right, we better get going now because I don't know where this could go. All right.
So I just as you were going through the updates for this week, it was a frightening path through memory lane because, as you know, I'm presently at SAP, but I've been at Oracle multiple times, and I think you got technically the conference names wrong. You missed one along the way. The open world has always existed, and then when Eloqua came in, there was the rise of modern. Right. And if you remember, Paul, I had you on stage at Modern.
Oh, yeah.
The week before I left for ServiceNow, which was kind of
We
an
had
odd
that
situation.
conversation at that event, right?
Yeah. And Modern was the rise of the application part of their conference stack,
That's right.
which has now become AI, because that's the Vegas event, right? And so we're doing something similar to here at SAP. We've got next month, we've got Connect, and it'll be in Vegas as well, actually the same week. So it'll be interesting. But the other thing was, you're talking about Thoma Bravo. They used to be called Thoma Cressy. And Thoma Cressy acquired a company I was at, along with Battery Ventures, called Nova. And they rolled us up into Onyx.
Oh, I remember Onyx. Holy cow.
It was probably the most painful period in my career. It was quite educational, but fast forward for all of the pain that we suffered 17 years ago. Everything I've heard about Thoma Bravo is that they are a fantastic PE operation, and they're not there to squeeze. I'm sure that they've have financial targets and all that, but for me, them taking pros is probably a sign of optimism for that company and for its customers. So I think it's a good thing. Thoma Bravo's as an operations for PE has been known to be pretty good. So good on them. Anyway,
I've heard. I actually, the little I do know about them was actually on the positive side with Thoma Bravo. Yeah. Onyx, holy God, man! It was Onyx.
Yeah, that's going way back there.
Yeah, where's Onyx's headquarters?
I don't know, but what happened was when we got acquired with Nova, got acquired with Onyx, we got merged into a company called Made to Manage out of Indianapolis, and they moved HQ to Indianapolis, and it was painful. There's an entire side story related to Sparrow's Pizza there that at some point I'll share with you. But
Okay.
you know, enough food
Let's
conversation.
talk
for today.
about surveillance economy and agentic AI and how the two are related, because you wrote something and you're working with a crew of like really smart folks on things that are trying to does the term dismantle when it comes to using AI to try to, first of all, give us your definition of surveillance economy and what does it mean? Because a lot of folks there's a lot of definitions of that kind of stuff, but what does that mean to you?
So I think, it goes back to, and it's interesting. You'll see Tim Berners-Lee right now is doing the rounds, launching his new book, and it's really going back to that era of defining what the World Wide Web was. And to layer on top of that, our mutual friend Doc Searls, when he talked about intention economy, then really this idea that when the web was built, the protocol that was not built as an open standard was that of commerce. And what quickly emerged, as Doc would say, was the arrival of the cookie in the browser set forward a tracking mechanism that was never accounted for and became highly proprietary and highly, invasive in the way that it evolved, right? And so surveillance, in the sense, instead of asking customers what their intention was, you started to track data and track data and track data, and you can collect data and you assume things. I think started off not with ulterior motives, but the fact is that we are now in a world where tracking and monitoring of movements and actions is become very negative. And and this is not a disrupt thing in the sense that I think all of these technologies are additive. It's the missed opportunity, and quite frankly, I've mentioned Doc's name, Doc Searls, who led the effort. He's been leading the effort around this. This notion that there's a bigger market out there, was asked by Harvard University to form a research project at the Harvard Law School, which he named Project VRM. I think VRM was a terrible name, but vendor relationship management.
It was.
The idea was, if companies have CRM to scale their relationships, why can't we individuals have vendor relationship management? Now, whether you call that individual cloud or what, but the notion was, we as individuals can drive better context into a relationship than companies can extrapolate from legacy data. And that market, quite frankly, is coming. It is merging very quickly with the idea of agentic AI, in the sense that agentic AI is different than AI agents. AI agents are actual applications, whereas agentic AI is essentially outcome-driven, coding underneath, in which if you don't offer the right guidance, they can run amok. But also, there's an upside or potential here, which we within Customer Commons have been building too. And I would have to say the board members have done a better job at this than I have, as far as the amount of work involved in it. But working with the IEEE to rectify the fact that there aren't mechanisms for on the internet, protocol standards for individuals or even others to assert their terms. We're now on, what is now called IEEE Standard 7012, or short term is my terms. The ability for us to assert our terms in a transaction. And it goes back to really the founding principles of agency, right? Or, of any sort of commercial relationship. By definition, in the real world, the customer is the one who's the first party in a relationship,
right?
But it's inverse on in the digital world, because we as customers have to accept the terms of service, which, by the way, for the most part, aren't enforceable, because they're known as contracts of adhesion. before I tell you what I'm going to do for you, you must agree to every term. They don't really stand up, and they're not fair. And honestly, there's a bigger market out there. And the market is, if I told you what I want, I think it would reduce the amount of overhead for you, provide you better insights, and give you greater context to deepen relationships and not just be focused on a transaction.
Well,
Can oh, go ahead, Paul.
No, you go ahead. I'll come back on mine.
I was just thinking, I don't think either of us disagree with anything you said.
No.
I think that most people on the consumer side and on the enterprise would have to say that makes a ton of sense. And if there's this opportunity to go broader with this approach where customers get what they want, vendors get what they want, everybody seems to get what they want. Why hasn't this happened already?
It's an interesting thing. I think part of it is because the protocols have not been established, right? I think there's that factor. I think the fact is that the first real disruption to the surveillance economy happened maybe about 5 years ago when what Doc likes to call the greatest consumer boycott in world history, which was blocking advertising on browsers, started to impact advertising technology. Right, ad tech took a hit, and that was the first wake-up call to say monitoring people might not be valuable, or may be valuable for the short term, but it might not be valuable for the long term. Now, if you look at this from so it's painfully obvious people have been walking past this every single day. I think what it felt, in early days, this will happen very quickly because so obvious it just doesn't, because there's so many actors, on the side of the economy that benefits with short-term surveillance that, and by the way, the term surveillance was coined by, and I'm blanking on the name now, but a former Harvard professor who wrote a fantastic book called The Surveillance Economy. It digs deeper into what that really means and the intention around that. Shoshana Zuboff.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoke with her a couple of times. Many years
brilliant person. It's just a bigger opportunity. Talking about common names, we know that roughly 50% of the world is online, 50% is not. And our common friend, Malin Fung, has been working around the 50% that are not. And I think the opportunity right now is for us to build this standard where they get to assert their rights before somebody else asserts it for them, right? So it's not just for those of us that are already in this mechanism. It's for everybody else. And when you think about that, that's a market of 7.5 billion people that's ready to be served.
Well, to that point, to many of your points, actually, one of the things I remember years ago, I was wrestling with some of this stuff, and I had a peripheral relationship with VRM. It's where I met Doc, and I met you afterwards, but it was sort of because of it. And I remember I was back in 2008, I think. I was trying to figure out a definition of social CRM, and at the time I came up with the idea that it was the company's response, a programmatic response to the customer's control of the conversation. But that also goes to the other side of it, which is one of the problems that's always existed, not just for VRM, but for the idea of the customer's control of the conversation. Because ultimately, it's sad to say, we're looking at how much impact does one have over the other, one way in both directions, right? And because one customer complaining or one customer supporting, it's not meaningless, but it's not all that meaningful necessarily either. And it occurred to me years later that the problem is we're not talking about the customer's programmatic control of the conversation. We're talking about the customer's control of the conversation, which could be tons of individual social complaints. But we saw a little bit of the power of it when it is organized or even organically organized, with Jimmy Kimmel coming back on the air. Right, as well, all that Disney crap was ridiculous. Well, we had thoughtful and meaningful conversations. No, your market value dropped $4 billion dollars because everyone was canceling Disney subs because of what you did, right? So you start seeing that, but that's, again, that was organic, meaning it was more happened in a wave as opposed to being an organized institutional effort. But it's also when the power actually derives itself is when it impacts in that direction. The other side, and this is more definitional, and this does go to one of the always problems, is the definitions, right? I mean, how some person interprets what customer control is, or what vendor relation management, to your point, I completely agree. It's a horrible name. But for example, to me, we always have heard, okay, that's a transaction, that's an interaction. And to me, no, a transaction is just a subset of interaction. It's just another kind of interaction. That's all. And it's misinterpreted as if it's this entirely separate thing, and it's given extra gravitas when in fact it's just, again, effectively, even though obviously there's this money involved, or something involved, of value, it tends to have a heavier weight. But at the same time, ultimately, if you start defining it as a data point, in a manner of speaking, as opposed to this, fist, it changes the whole way you start looking at everything, because it's all interaction, every level, all the time.
It is, and I think this is where another friend of the show, common friend of ours, Liz Miller, has done a fantastic job talking about, is the idea is that the highest level of success in customer experience is when there's co-creation of value. When both sides see value being created, you deepen the relationship.
Right.
And really, that's the goal of even what we're doing with My Terms, is to say, I can offer you greater context so you can improve your product or service and tighten that relationship. So if I can assert terms, and quite frankly, part of the assertion of terms is that let's say 25 odd years ago, just as an individual, we had maybe a couple of dozen what I would call long-standing relationships. You had a relationship, with the utility. You had a relationship with the newspaper you subscribed to, and you had like 5, like 20 or 30 of these. With the arrival of the web and all of these email services and all these other things popping up, now you're being outmaneuvered. There's hundreds and hundreds of relations. You lose track of the context of each one of those. So if you built on the customer side the same type of scale in which you could then just say, look, you can use my term, you can use my data for this type of execution for 30 days, and you feed that in a mechanism, you reduce the complexity for the customer in that interaction. And also, quite frankly, the other part of it is you reduce the amount of stale data on the enterprise side. I mean, one of the things that we talk about is, and I won't mention competitors' names here, but there's many competitors that have hundreds of thousands of instances of CRM. My bet is that in their instances, there are probably, hundreds of thousands of Paul Greenbergs in there, of which some have the right address, some have the wrong address, and all of that. And it's because the single source of truth is Paul Greenberg. It's not their legacy CRM system. If you could assert that in, it would reduce the overhead on that front. And
so how do you get that? Because the other side is, and this is always the biggest thing, is like, for example, you remember when they had WCCW, right? And they came together to figure out how to create some standards for the internet that were accepted. Yeah. I mean, ultimately the word is accepted, right? And how do you get that accepted, which is the biggest problem? It's not even, we can create all the standards we want, but if they're not accepted, they're meaningless. How do you do it?
I think, given the fact that in the work that we've been doing with IEEE, and again, I've not been directly involved, but the other board members have. There seems to be a groundswell within the IEEE itself that they will actively promote My Terms because they see the market opportunity. And the idea there is that those terms could be standardized and maintained by brokers similar to, let's say, GoDaddy or whatnot. And that protocol then can be inserted into the enterprise application side as well as applications that are built, for individuals. We'll see. I mean, that's the great unknown, is how effectively something like that can happen. One of the efforts that's associated to this is, and I've written about it recently on my LinkedIn profiles, that we've been invited to work with Stanford University's HAI, the Human Centered Artificial Intelligence Lab, and Consumer Reports around what they're calling loyal agents. And the idea there is to start building up these, agents that can assert terms on our behalf. My terms is one of them. There's other, protocol components. But if you flip it on, the side of the company, it would be better for me to know, and it goes back to, the days when I was sitting in contact centers and analyzing what the inbound phone calls were about. It would be better for customers know more about how they use your product or service than you ever will. And if they can actually offer that data back in, wow, the impact on your manufacturing, on your supply chain, on how you respond to them would be invaluable. The challenge has been that feedback mechanism is unstructured today. It's a phone call, it's a one-off. But if you could build a protocol layer that says, here's the feedback that I'm willing to provide to you with my terms, and as a result, you can improve the product or service. It reduces costs, it increases opportunity, and it gets that value co-creation engine, up and running.
It's kind of user testing sort of approach.
Yeah, I guess the question though remains, the folks who have the power, and I'm talking about companies really.
Yeah.
The companies that are currently the ones that have the juice, the power, the money, whatever. How do you get them to try to work as a group as opposed to working to secure the kind of edge that they currently have with whatever comes next?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point. This is the great unknown, and that's why it's fun being involved in an effort like this. Is you're not really fighting, I think, and then step back again to something that Doc says is that, a free customer, one that has agency, is more valuable than a captive one. And if you believe that, which we do to our core, I think all of us believe that. What that does is it helps reduce complexity on the enterprise side. I think having this, really what you're fighting against is there's a challenge that happened over the last 15, 20 years where ad tech got conflated with CRM. They're two different things. And I think if the CRM vendors per se champion this idea that we don't need to surveil you, but we will accept your terms, that will start turning the dial. Because we know that ad tech dollars are shrinking. And it's not just because of the LLMs sucking away all of the search engine. It's also because, the browser, cookie boycott, and it's, the fact is, the effectiveness of it is just reducing over time. You still want to connect with those customers. And how about if a customer is willing to connect with you, right? So again, brass tacks, Brent, I'm not sure yet as to how we get there, but this is about, fighting a good fight, right? And getting out there and, talking about it and trying to get, the bigger vendors to adopt this. I think that there's lots of vendors that are ready to go.
There is one other aspect to it that might work. It just occurs to me is actually when I was in my earlier days, I used to try this and it kind of works sometimes. Once you have let's call it the package, whatever that is, that you want to present, you go to the industry associations and talk to them.
That's right.
Specifically.
That's right.
And start there. You don't even start with it, because what the best that happens, the association as a whole adopts it, and then goes to the membership. The let's say the worst is nothing happens, but right above that is a few companies who meet you there start agreeing to it, and I let's say it's that approach has been used pretty successfully in the past. And it might be a good way to but again, the one thing with the associations I always found is you get one shot. and that's it. I mean, if you don't, you have to have a friend on the board, and you get one shot to present to that board. And if they like it, they'll give you the second, third, and fourth, whatever the next group is. But you got to be ready at that first time you go.
Yeah, no, I agree, and one of the unique things of where I sit today at SAP is the fact that, given that SAP is, domiciled in the European Union, and given the data protection and privacy mandates in which we operate globally, not just even here, we have a higher interest in protecting the rights of individuals. So I am working internally here to see if we can lead the way. It's a differentiator, and quite frankly, when you can connect an experience into supply chain, and into finance, into manufacturing, if the customer asserts to you something, it streamlines supply chain, it streamlines manufacturing, it raises opportunities to develop more interesting products. All of it being given to you by permissioned approaches from the customer. Like, it's a win-win. And I think it'll take that. It'll take somebody that drives that type of vision. Again, we're fighting a good fight on this, and hopefully, with IEEE approval in final stages, there's a mechanism for us to say this is the process.
That's amazing. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
If you had to just take a wild guess, how much of a window of opportunity do you see? Because as we see, things are going so fast, so quickly, moving so much. It's kind of hard for people to catch up or even try to kind of keep in place. But what kind of window of opportunity do you see that you need to fit in order for the kind of change that you're looking to kind of see? How much time do you have to actually get that?
Oh, I think it's the next 18 months or so to really lock this in, because here's what I see happening is that we're in an accelerated hype cycle around AI. And by the way, it's a subset of AI. Right? This is really the LLM part of AI. There's all kinds of other AI development, especially time series AI, which is actually building up accretive value, where you can do anomaly detection. Imagine anomaly detection on customer experiences that are being given to you by permission. You can improve products so much faster, right? You can respond so much faster. I don't know where I got a thumbs up there, but
I don't know where that came from. I was wondering.
That value, I think, is where I think we're at the at that first run in the hype cycle around AI, and smart companies are starting to realize when and where to invest, and I think those that are looking for long-term relationships are looking for the next way to connect, and really much of the development that's happening on the customer side, I think is ready to arrive. I mean, the fact is that the involvement of outside of even Stanford, there's an effort over at MIT called NANDA, which is about the decentralized agentic web. It's all about individual agents, acting on your behalf. Like, that is the next layer that will be built. What we want to make sure is in that layer are protocols built that give us agency in the way that execution of our against our data is proffered. I mean, and so I mean, I think it's a year, 18 months, for this to happen, and I think it will. I mean, I think that the big chunks of it will. I mean, nothing will be perfect, but the current status is just not working. Yeah.
If anyone's ready, you are. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
you're the guy. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Just one final question. So so we know you've probably been doing, I'll call it VRM related work for 20 years now? Close to 20 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to see a form of it, not the original intent, of course, it's different. But,
sure.
Or the original the original actual
Framing.
typing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Frame.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's changed, but you're starting to see acceptance there. Now,
Mhm.
if you're planning the very next step, not
Mhm.
18 months from now, the thing you're gonna,
Yeah.
you say, okay, we're here now. That step 1 is done.
Mhm.
Step 2 is happening. What's step 2?
Step 2, I think, is proof points within. And it's interesting you frame it that way because I spent so much time on both sides. I spent so much time on the VRM development side, which is essentially, I would say, the David versus Goliath mindset. And then day job for my career has been on the enterprise software side.
Right.
And I think really step 2 is a break in that dam between enterprise and individual. And I think those companies that are, um, don't have their hands dipped into surveillance-driven revenue, um, mostly the CRM vendors, can open that up by opening up that protocol or saying that they will commit to that protocol in the way that they, enable customers to connect.
I have an idea, by the way. Talk to me offline.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we have reached the top of the hour, a little past the top of the hour, but this has been such a really cool conversation
Amazing.
to have with you. And where can people learn more about what you guys are up to?
Customercommons.org is the website. Projectvrm.org or .com, either one, I think, is really the canonical source of all of Doc's work. Consumer Reports' effort is under loyalagents.org. And so there's a lot of work going on. And then obviously the IEEE stuff and all of that's going to follow. And I'm going to increase my writing on that front because I see it necessary now to educate, get beyond the brass tacks of what we've talked about for a very long time and get it going.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Always,
Thank you.
you are amazing.
And on behalf of Nitin, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and we can't say goodbye until you say hello to Minnie.
Hey,
All right.
girl.
Now you can say goodbye. See you.
Bye.